King Arthur show. And if you're patient and still with me, I'm talking about philosophy and I. Philosophy is really just thinking. We can't stop thinking, can we? And it's sort of organized thinking, and the best thinkers are recorded. Current philosophy, I think we can say, has given up on certitude. So if you demand certitude, you're in the wrong ballgame. But Dr. Cahoon states that philosophy has a lot of things to do to correlate present thinking and also future thinking without certitude. Now, as far as I'm concerned, they've given up, most of them, on metaphysics. That is, God, who made the world, what is the purpose? I have not done so, nor has Professor Cahoon. In any case, my major discipline was English, language and literature. And so philosophy, I said last time, didn't take in college. I never could figure out what the categorical imperative was and some of those terms. But philosophy wouldn't quit. Since I'm a thinking person, it kept creeping in. For example, it kept creeping into literature. Try teaching Coleridge and Wordsworth and D.H. Lawrence without philosophy. But even more so, trying to teach linguistics or rhetoric without philosophy. In fact, philosophy right now is pretty much concerned with language, not for its own sake, but because we only can think with language. And language is both a help and a barrier, because our current 20th century philosopher Derrida points out that language cannot be pinned down. Language, a word has a history. Look at the Oxford English Dictionary. And it has many, many meanings. And for each individual, words not only have denotation, exactly what they mean, but connotation, associations. So I can eat pork, or I can eat swine or pork. I think I'd rather eat pork, but they refer to the same thing. Why? Okay. Anyway, so we are language creatures. We can't get out of it. But, again, philosophy keeps creeping in. Now, structuralism, very popular in the early 20th century, states how important the structure of a language is, in addition to its meaning, as far as words go. But I found it very informative for rhetoric. In fact, my own theory of text structure is based on philosophy, largely. So whatever you're into and you're thinking beyond just letting your mind go idle is philosophy. And I would encourage you to study philosophy formally, but also maybe informally. You've got to be thinking, right? And one thing that I found very helpful is when philosophy got off into various things of meaning and whatnot. I found a philosopher who spoke to everyday life, and that is Hidager, Martin Hidager. Because he said that we understand the world out there from our experience. And he says, why do things become real to us? He said, we're all sein, that means being, but we're Dasein, we're thrown into the world. So he says, we're thrown into the world, and how do we gather information? Well, he says, we are only aware of something when it's broken. He calls it the broken hammer. In my car, when I had a car, I didn't care anything about mechanics, and I didn't know what the water pump was until it went out. And so when only something doesn't work for us, we become aware of its function. That makes sense? I think so. And so I feel that when you are writing to a person, you start with some broken hammer. Now, we'll talk about that more later. When you talk about something that is broken. Now, I will explain that more later, as I say. But it makes a lot of sense to me. How do I live in this world? He calls it design, because of my experience. In fact, one of the great tests of truth in our own day is not absolute truth, but pragmatics, what works. And we can find out a lot about what works from science and from thought and from our culture and from our communication, etc. Well, so if you try to run away from philosophy, you better watch out. If you're thinking, you're going to bump right into it. It'll grab you. So be careful, because it might grab you. Okay, start thinking. Have a good one.